The sleeve or muff coupling is designed as A dun cylinder, B thick cylinder, C solid shaft, D hollow shaft. The correct answer is hollow shaft. A sliding bearing in which the working surfaces are completely separated from each other by lubricant is called zero-film bearing. A true, B false, C, D. The correct answer is false. Screws used for power transmission should have A low efficiency, B high efficiency, C very fine threads, D strong teeth. The correct answer is high efficiency. The number of rivets in shear shall be equal to the number of rivets in crushing. A correct, B incorrect, C, D. The correct answer is correct. When bevel gears connect two shafts whose axes intersect at an angle greater than a right angle and one of the bevel gears has a pitch angle of 90, then they are known as A angular bevel gears, B crown bevel gears, C internal bevel gears, D mitre gears. The correct answer is crown bevel gears. The toughness of a material when it is heated. A increases, B decreases, C does not change, D. The correct answer is decreases. The number of slots in a 25 mm castle nut is A2, B4, C6, D8. The correct answer is 6. A screw is said to be overhauling screw if its efficiency is A less than 50, B more than 50, C equal to 50, D none of these. The correct answer is more than 50. The application of third type levers is found in A handle of a hand pump, B hand wheel of a punching press, C lever of a loaded safety valve, D a pair of tongs. The correct answer is a pair of tongs. For unequal width of butt straps, the thickness of butt straps are A 0.75 t for wide strap on the inside and 0.625 t for narrow strap on the outside, B 0.75 t for narrow strap on the inside and 0.625 t for wide strap on the outside, C 0.75 t for both the straps on the inside and outside, D 0.625 t for both the straps on the inside and outside. The correct answer is 0.75 t for wide strap on the inside and 0.625 t for narrow strap on the outside. In second type of levers, A load is in between the fulcrum and effort, B effort is in between the fulcrum and load, C fulcrum is in between the load and effort, D none of these. The correct answer is load is in between the fulcrum and effort. Soderberg relation is based on of the material, whereas all other failure relation for dynamic loading are based on ultimate strength of the material. A elastic strength, B yield strength, C shear strength, D. The correct answer is yield strength. In a flange coupling, the flanges are coupled together by means of A bolts and nuts, B studs, C headless taper bolts, D none of these. The correct answer is bolts and nuts. A transmission shaft includes A counter shaft, B line shaft, C overhead shaft, D all of these. The correct answer is all of these. According to IBR, shearing resistance required to shear of the rivet per pitch length in double shear is wherein number of rivets per pitch length A D2xxn, B 1.875x D2xxn, C 2x D2xxn, D3x D2xxn. The correct answer is 1.875 x d2 x n. A locking device in which the bottom cylindrical portion is recessed to receive the tip of the locking set screw is called A. Castle nut, B. Jam nut, C. Ring nut, D. Saw nut. The correct answer is ring nut. Slenderness ratio is the ratio of A. Maximum size of column to minimum size of column, B. Width of column to depth of column, C. Effective length of column to least radius of gyration of the column, D. Effective length of column to width of column. The correct answer is effective length of column to least radius of gyration of the column. A crankshaft is a shaft. A. Transmission, B. Machine, C. D. The correct answer is machine. According to Indian Standard Specifications 108-6G5 means that the A. Actual size is 100 mm, B. Basic size is 100 mm, C. Difference between the actual size and basic size is 100 mm, D. None of the above. The correct answer is basic size is 100 mm. The velocity of sliding the distance of the point of contact from the pitch point A is directly proportional to, B is inversely proportional to, C is equal to cos multiplied by, D does not depend upon. The correct answer is directly proportional to. A column is known as a long column if the slenderness ratio is A. 40, B. 50, C. 70, D. 100. The correct answer is 100. Circumferential joint in boilers is used to get the required length of a boiler. A. True, B. False, C. D. The correct answer is true. The ball bearings are provided with a cage. A. To reduce friction, B. To facilitate slipping of balls, C. To prevent the lubricant from flowing out, D. To maintain the balls at a fixed distance apart. The correct answer is to maintain the balls at a fixed distance apart. When screw threads are to be used in a situation where power is being transmitted in one direction only, then the screw threads suitable for this will be A. Square threads, B. Acme threads, C. Knuckle threads, D. Buttress threads. The correct answer is buttress threads. In radial cams the follower moves A. in a direction perpendicular to the cam axis, B. in a direction parallel to the cam axis, C. in any direction irrespective of cam axis, D. along the cam axis. The correct answer is in a direction perpendicular to the cam axis. The square threads are not so strong as V threads, but they offer less frictional resistance to motion than Whitworth threads. A. Correct, B. Incorrect, C. D. The correct answer is correct. According to Unwins formula, the relation between the diameter of rivet hole D and the thickness of plate T is given by where D and T are in mm. A. dt, B. D 1.6 T, C. D 2 T, D. D 6 T. The correct answer is D 6 T. In order to avoid tearing of the plate at an edge, the distance from the center line of the rivet hole to the nearest edge of the plate should be equal to where D diameter of rivet hole. A. D, B 1.5 D, C 2 D, D 2.5 D. The correct answer is 1.5 D. The value of stress concentration factor depends upon A. material of the part, B. geometry of the part, C. material and geometry of the part, D. none of these. The correct answer is material and geometry of the part. Which of the following material has the maximum ductility? A. mild steel, B. copper, C. zinc, D. aluminium. The correct answer is mild steel. When a bolt is subjected to shock loading, the resilience of the bolt should be considered in order to prevent breakage at the A head, B shank, C thread, D middle. The correct answer is thread. In order to obtain the bolts of uniform strength, an axial hole is drilled through the head as far as the threaded portion such that the area of shank becomes equal to the root area of the thread. A true, B false, C, D. The correct answer is true. An open belt drive is used when A shafts are arranged parallel and rotate in the opposite directions. B shafts are arranged parallel and rotate in the same directions. C shafts are arranged at right angles and rotate in one definite direction. D driven shaft is to be started or stopped whenever desired without interfering with the driving shaft. The correct answer is shafts are arranged parallel and rotate in the same directions. In unilateral system of tolerance, the tolerance is allowed on A one side of the actual size, B one side of the nominal size, C both sides of the actual size, D both sides of the nominal size. The correct answer is one side of the nominal size. The constant factor in case of R10 series of preferred numbers is A 1.06, B 1.12, C 1.26, D 1.58. The correct answer is 1.26. The pipe joint mostly used for pipes carrying water at low pressures is A socket joint, B nipple joint, C union joint, D spigot and socket joint. The correct answer is socket joint. According to Guest's theory, the failure occurs at a point in a member when the maximum shear stress in a biaxial stress system reaches the shear stress at elastic limit in simple tension test. A true, B false, C, D. The correct answer is true. Surface endurance limit of gear material is dependent upon its A elastic strength, B yield strength, C Brinell hardness number, D toughness. The correct answer is Brinell hardness number. In a hydrodynamic lubricated bearing, A there is a thick film of lubricant between the journal and the bearing. B there is a thin film of lubricant between the journal and the bearing. C there is no lubricant between the journal and the bearing. D the lubricant is forced between the journal and the bearing by external pressure. The correct answer is there is a thick film of lubricant between the journal and the bearing. Which of the following statement is correct for gears? A. The addendum is less than dedendum. B. The pitch circle diameter is equal to the product of module and number of teeth. C. The pitch circle is always greater than the base circle. D. All of the above. The correct answer is all of the above. A flanged pipe joint will be a leak-proof joint if the circumferential pitch of the bolts is where D diameter of bolt hole. A less than 20 D. B greater than 30 D. C between 20 D and 30 D. D equal to inside diameter of pipe. The correct answer is between 20 D and 30 D. Stress concentration is caused due to A. Variations in load acting on a member. B. Variations in properties of materials in a member. C. Abrupt change of cross-section. D. All of these. The correct answer is abrupt change of cross-section. The resistance to fatigue of a material is measured by A. Elastic limit, B. Young's modulus, C. Ultimate tensile strength, D. Endurance limit. The correct answer is endurance limit. The load cup of a screw jack is made separate from the head of the spindle to A. Enhance the load carrying capacity of the jack. B. Reduce the effort needed for lifting the working load. C. Prevent the rotation of load being lifted. D. Reduce the value of frictional torque. The correct answer is prevent the rotation of load being lifted. Two shafts A and B under pure torsion are of identical length and identical weight and are made of the same material. The shaft A is solid and the shaft B is hollow. We can say that A shaft B is better than shaft A. B shaft A is better than shaft B. C. Both the shafts are equally good. D. The correct answer is shaft B is better than shaft A. Which of the following statement is wrong? A. The power transmitted by V-belts is less than flat belts for the same coefficient of friction arc of contact and allowable tension in the belts. B. The V-belt drive is used with large center distance. C. The V-belt may be operated in either direction with tight side of the belt at the top or bottom. D. The ratio of driving tensions in V-belt drive is more than flat belt drives. The correct answer is the V-belt drive is used with large center distance. In a flange coupling, the thickness of flanges is taken as 1/2 the diameter of shaft. A. Agree. B. Disagree. C. D. The correct answer is agree.